This is Serhat, Eren. I'm here to talk about how successfully you can launch your quality management system or even maintain the one that you already have using the Siemens software called CompliantPro. A little bit about my background. I hold a PhD from Purdue University. I had a very diverse background in manufacturing, studied as an engineer, moved up to all the way to the global quality lead, over 100 sites responsibilities. Most recently, I've been here with PMC since May of 2019. My expertise included, but of course not limited to, some of the quality and operation excellence areas. Those are either ISO 9001, IATF 16949. I also have expertise in ISO 14001, which is Environmental Management System. OSSES used to be OSSES, but now it's ISO 45001, which is the Occupational Health and Safety Management. ESDS 2020, which is the Electro-Static Discharge standard. The VDA 6.3, that's a German OEM process audit requirement that I'm also certified in that area. On top of that, of course, whoever is working in the automotive world, the core tools are key requirements, so I'm also certified in all the key requirements, the core tools that are APQP, PMAs, the control plans, the PPAP, MSA, and SPCs. I'm a certified Master Black Belt in multiple Six Sigma methodologies, like DMAC and DFSS, and also lean manufacturing expert. And some other the areas of expertise included design of experiment value stream mapping, late process audits, and quality function deployment. So before I get into the quality services, I would like to briefly talk about a PMC Way business model. We have developed and used for over 25 years. We use PMC Way for all our services, and it consists of 5 steps. First step is that when someone contacts us, what we do is we do the assessment. We go to their site, or the organization can provide us the information, and we can do the actually a remote assessment on what they're looking for. So that assessment can be against either customer specific requirements and or certain standards that I mentioned earlier. So the second one is that when we assess, we will tell you what are the gaps. So now at this point, as an organization may say, hey, okay, it's good to know the gap. Now I will manage it internally. We can do that. Or we can help you define the action items to close those gaps. Once we define those action items, we can work with your team, or totally independent of your team, we can actually implement those action items. And of course, when we implement them, the key here is the sustainability. So we want to make sure that the improvements we make, they are sustained not only within that year, but throughout the life cycle of a product or service that you're going to provide to your customer. So now, we provide consulting services to develop, implement, and maintain the management system for the following international standards. IATF 16949, which is the Automotive Quality Management System. It's a standard that defines the quality management system requirements for the automotive production and relevant service parts organizations. ISO 9001, it's a quality management system that's a standard that specifies the requirements for a quality management system when an organization needs to demonstrate its ability to consistently provide products and or services that meet or exceed the customer's expectations. As for the ISO 14001, it's a environmental management system, and it's a standard that specifies the requirements for an environmental management system that an organization can use to enhance its environmental performance. As for ISO 45001, Occupational Health and Safety Management System, this standard actually specifies requirements for an occupational health and safety management system and gives the guidance for its use to enable organizations to provide safe and healthy workplaces by preventing the work-related injury and ill health. VDA 6.3, it's a process audit again for German OEMs. It's an important and well-established method for the analysis of processes. ESD S2020, Electro-Static Discharge standard for those who are in the consumer electronics or any electronic components for the automotive. It's one of the requirements that you have to be certified. Your organization will have to be certified in this standard. This provides the guideline for protecting the electrical and electronic parts, assemblies, and the equipment susceptible to ESD damage for human body model discharges. Briefly, I wanted to mention here what quality management system is about. For the sake of time limitation, the scope of this webinar will include the ISO 9001 IATF standard. Now, let me begin with providing a bit more details about QMS. In its basic concept, it is quite simple. The QMS seeks to recognize interested party requirements, including the licenses to trade, guidelines, customer requirements, and the chosen management system standards. Ensure that all requirements have been met, confirm that employees receive applicable training in the quality system requirements, determine processes, their interaction, inputs and outputs, produce records or evidence that the system requirements have been met, measure, monitor, and report the performance of the QMS, plan changes to the QMS, and take actions to address risk and the opportunities as a result of changes, perform internal audit to analyze the QMS and correct nonconformities, and finally, continually improve the QMS. Anyone who works with QMS should be aware of the critical QMS principles. And these principles are customer focus, which is the management team ensuring that the customer requirements are determined, understood, and met with the objective of enhancing the customer satisfaction. Second one is the leadership. The management team providing evidence of its leadership and commitment to the development and implementation of the quality management system and continually improving its effectiveness. Third one is the people involvement. The management team retaining competent employees, encouraging continuous enhancement of their knowledge and skills, and empowering them, encouraging engagement and recognizing achievements. The process approach, here the organizations enhance their performance when leaders manage and control their processes as well as the inputs and the outputs that tie these processes together. Continual improvement is the fifth one. Here the organizations will maintain current levels of performance, respond to changing conditions, and identify, create, and exploit new opportunities when they establish and sustain an ongoing focus on improvement. The sixth one is the factual approach to decision making. The organizations succeed when they have established an evidence-based decision-making process that entails gathering input from multiple sources, identifying facts, objectively analyzing data, examining the cause and effect, and considering potential consequences. The seventh one is the mutually beneficial supplier relationships. The management team ensures to manage their relationships with suppliers and partners which can nurture positive and productive involvement, support, and feedback from those entities. Quality documentations. One of the key requirements of QMS is documentations. There are 4 levels of documents in typical QMS. The level 1 is the quality policy, where we also document the objectives of the organization. The second is the vision mission, where we want to see ourselves in the future. Quality manual is the collection of all the principles from standards. The level 2 includes the quality operating procedures. This is the set of requirements from functions. And level 3 includes forms, format, structure, form of information, checklist, or check sheets. So the standards, what something should be, work instructions, how to perform specific tasks correctly, and specifications, which means the statement of precise requirement. The level 4 all filled up in completed documents stored in hard or soft format. So this one is the process approach is one of the key requirements of either IATF or ISO 9001 standard. This is a high-level structured process approach. Clauses in relations to the PDA cycle. So if you can see here from the PDCA cycle in the blue circles, and then they actually show you the requirements of the standards leadership is a 5, which actually is right in the center of the chart. Then we have the planning, which is the P. Then the support and operation falls when the do section of the PDCA cycle. The C is the performance evaluation, so you're checking the performance of your QMS system. And the finally 10, which is the improvement, the action. So you see the results of that. Now let me introduce you some a concept that, just in case if you haven't seen this in automotive, and this has been an ongoing tool that it's a visual tool we use during the audits. It makes actually audits go a lot smoother. It's called turtle diagram. It's a quality tool. Again, it visually shows the inputs and the outputs. And again, this is not the only way to do this, but one of the ways that you can actually make your audit go a lot smoother. So I provided an example here as the center of that is the process owner, and the inputs, for example, by what infrastructure and hardware material is required to do this job. Then what are the specific inputs? Here, we can actually go to the next slide and provide these in a larger font so you can see them actually easier. So by what section of that turtle diagram includes jigs, fixtures, machines? So you would actually list them in there. Calibrated IMTs, either gauges or instruments. Validation testing machines, plant equipment, tools and equipment, locksmeter, personal protective equipment, laptop, desktop, any software you would need would be listed here as a by what. The process inputs here, of course, your customer-specific requirements would be key. Then any drawings, process flow diagram, PPMAs, control plans, calibration verifications, process capabilities, customer approval. These would be, again, provided as an input to this process. Hows, the production control procedure, abnormality treatment handling procedure, contaminants control procedure, process capability, pre-process design, how you manage your laboratory, and the management review would be provided as hows. The risk and also opportunities. Under risk involved in the process, so you may actually have less production, customer complaint, dissatisfaction, low rating, line stoppages, or you may have premium freight, less OEE, overall equipment efficiency, high manpower consumption. The opportunities involved in the process would be high productivity and reduction in the manpower consumption through the automation in production. Again, as this is the process activity here, it's about, and again, this is very generic. This is for production. And the owner would be the production engineer or the manager. By whom? Competency requirements for process owner. So you would need product and process knowledge, special process knowledge where it's required. Process execution skill, any customer specific requirements, CSR and ISO, IATF awareness. SAP, again, this is one of the software for this example that we use. Execution skill, manpower handling and management, knowledge of machine parts and spares, knowledge of 7 quality control or problem solving tools. Some of the performance indicators or the process efficiencies. So you would actually check the number of customer complaints or customer rejections. OEs, in-process rejections, cost of poor quality, that would include your scrap rework, internal and external containment costs, internal customer line stoppages, customer rating, sales, delivery performance, premium freight, or number of accidents or incidences. So the process output would be that the product as per customer requirements. So you would have the product that meets all the customer specific requirements. Set of approval, first piece approval record, in process, inspection, critical to quality parameters record, production report, in process rejection record, your process capabilities, 5S audit checklist, functional test reports, they would be all part of your process output. So when you put them all in one, so this would be a good way of actually looking at your processes. And this specific example shows how to actually use the visual aid of total diagram with management review process, which I'm not going to go through, but this actually specifically outlines the what's, the inputs, and how, supporting risks, opportunities, whom, performance indicators, and the output. Third-party registrar certification process starts with implementing the quality management system, followed by conducting an internal audit and review the results by top management of the organization. Then select a certification body that will conduct stage 1 and stage 2 audits. These are called the third-party audit. Once you pass the audit, your organization will be confirmed to be registered with them. Continual improvement and the surveillance audits will follow. This is a 3-year cycle auditation. So this one is specific to ISO 9001, and the mandatory documents here are for, first one is scope of the quality management system. You have to have that defined. The second one is your quality policy. Third one is your quality objectives and plans for achieving them. And then the fourth one is the procedure for control of externally provided processes, products, and services. The next slide here, I have listed a few mandatory records of 9001. Some of them are record of maintenance and calibration, monitoring, and measuring equipment. I even provided the clause numbers associated with it. Competence records, product service requirements, review records, record of new requirements for product or service, design and development inputs record, design and development controls, evidence of product service conformity, monitoring the performance information, internal audit program and results, management review results, nonconformities, and the corrective actions. Some of them to mention here. Commonly used but not mandatory documents. Determining the context of the organization and interested parties, even though it's one of the first clauses, 4.1 and 4.2, we use them. It helps organizations to better manage their QMS, but they're not mandatory. Procedure for addressing the risks and opportunities. Competence, training, and awareness. Procedure for control of documents and records. Sales procedure. Procedure for design and development. Procedure for production and service provision. Procedure for internal audit. Procedure for management review. And finally, procedure for nonconformity and corrective action. The PMC offers 4 different levels of training for each of the international standards I mentioned. The first one is the executive overview. This is a couple of our overview training that we actually give very high level information about the standard itself, why it is needed, how it's been implemented, and what are the benefits is what we're covering that. The second one is the awareness. One of the key clauses of the standard is actually about awareness. So the people, even the people that are not touching the parts within the organization, they need to be aware of the quality management system. So it's a 4-hour training. So we provide that to, again, the organizations. The next one is actually internal auditing. Internal auditing, this one actually we provide, it's a week-long training. What we do here is that we provide real-life case studies. We teach about, the methodology, strategies, how to do audits, how to develop an internal audit program, and then how to audit that internally and react to the issues that, being identified. Again, we provide real-life examples for for the candidates to actually be successful or after being trained. The next one is the lead auditor training. This one is actually will provide opportunities for those candidates not only do the internal audits, but also if they're responsible, or they can actually, if the quality management system represents multi-site, then these individuals can actually do the audits and the multi-site going outside of their specific site there. So, but the last one that they customize. So we can always work with organizations to actually better fit the training into their needs and wants. So that's the last way of actually doing that. I provided here as an example of an IATF 16949 Automotive Quality Management System lead auditor training. So this training starts with the ISO and IATF standards explained, followed by introduction to ISO 9001 IATF 16949 requirements. Then we talk about tutorial diagrams, as I mentioned it earlier, and audit trails, management of the audit programs, audit planning and preparation, performing the audit, writing the non-conformity statements, completing the audit report, corrective action and closeout, linking the automotive core tools to IATF 16949, customer specific requirements, leading the audit teams, management system certification, SHEAM and the auditor qualifications, review of the audit process and audit management strategies, practical application of audit principles and instructor interviews, team exercises. So we have a bunch of team exercises throughout this and also breakout exercises throughout the week-long training. Here is an example, some samples of the certificates that we actually provided to a third party, another organization. This had to do with the IATF. This is with 14001, and this is the ESD S220. So, of course, now that I covered the QMS, some of the requirements, whatever the key documents or this and that about the QMS, what you are going to need to have within an organization is the tool to actually be able to successfully not only maintain but also develop your quality management system, maintain them, and be able to present what's needed either during the audit or in the customer visits. The PMC partners Siemens to provide a complete suite of the quality management products for integrated solutions of compliance and quality requirements. It's called CompliantPro QMS Software. It's a tool that ensures a company's quality assurance requirements are documented in a single integrated system, breaks down silos of information managed as point solution. CompliantPro allows organizations to manage their compliance and regulatory requirements beyond just document control. Key areas include environmental health and safety, enterprise risk management, training and qualifications, audits, and customer and supplier management. So what are the common benefits of these products? So first of all, it will provide improved operational excellence and customer satisfaction. Second, prevention of recurrent defects. Third, preventive action instead of reaction. Fourth, reduction of process, quality, defect, and scrap or rework costs. And the fifth, continuous improvement and innovation. So what are the CPRO's or CompliantPro's functional capabilities? Again, the integration capability, it's multilingual. It has the reporting and analytics functionality. It's got dashboards, so you can actually schedule what you need to look at on a daily basis and have the links right on your dashboard rather quickly instead of going through the QMS system. The escalation can take place rather quickly. Action management, backups and delegates, and it's actually also reconfigurable based on your needs. Some of the CPRO features include document control, training and qualification, enterprise risk management, CAPA, which means corrective action, preventive action management, meeting management, quality planning and objectives, audit management, customer surveys, supplier management, change management, non-conformances, waivers, complaint management, calibration management, environmental health and safety management. So what you see here, the blue areas are actually comes with the software free, and the white ones are add-ons that you have to pay for that addition. CompliantPro Quality Management System software has global features built in that will allow you to better manage your global sites QM requirements, and it will be done by one system. These features include organizations, rules-based configurable workflows, cloning, escalation, categorization, approval workflows, pre-configured dynamic reports, content structured via templates, saved searches, read restrictions, reporting tables for business unit tools accesses, number of documents, roles-based security, and so on and so forth. Here's a great example of how document control module works within CompliantPro. So we will have to define ownership of each document, then the collaboration process, which is actually optional. If it's required, it's there though. Final approval process via electronic signature, which will delay or reduce the lead time on approval process. Automatic release and control of versions, so you don't have to worry about typing up all the versions and everything else and keeping those in details which are required by the standard. And delayed release capability, so you can actually define when you want the procedure being as effective date, and it will kick it off at that specific date. Temporary document capabilities, automatic audit reminders, integration with training and qualification, also integration with assessments. Another example, a great example here is the training and qualification. The way it's actually structured, that it will allow you to track the job qualification training requirements, track the employee and non-employee training information, certification and renewal course reminders, quizzes and effectiveness reviews, integration with document control, self-acknowledgement of training, mass scheduling, mass updating, escalation as well. Corrective action, preventive action. The way CompliantPro is actually, this module is configured is very similar to 8D methodology. It has the 7-step, and what it does is that it allows, first of all, looks at the corrective action, preventive action as out of the box, and it allows you to enter all the containment actions, which is required of 8D, and it will allow you to, again, find the root causes, resolution plan and actions, approval for closure. One unique thing about this tool is that for every step of the way, you can assign the responsible person to a different person, so that you can actually show the evidence of cross-functional team working on each specific, the 8D or corrective action. It also allows you to document the findings as a lessons learned. So overall, the review here, we talked about PMC way, international standards, and specifically ISO 9001, IATF 16949, and we covered what QMS is about, what are the key principles, then talked about the key requirements, the documentation requirements, and touch based on the process approach, which is the requirement of IATF and also ISO 9001. I also talked about the visual tool, total diagram, and some of its application. I also provided some information about our certification process and some mandatory documentations, and of course, more importantly, some of the key functions of the CompliantPro product.